million plus workers, etc. in Surat, and so the whole added value is 7 billion, and that isn't much. And we need to get more out of the ground in order to grow that. So even if there is demand growth, if we need to have the product, you can see on my pipeline, the recycled goods have already become part of the pipeline, as is the synthetics. You don't see the synthetics clearly because we still have too many synthetics which are getting into the jewelry, being marketed in improper ways, and we'll have to deal with that. It won't help us, we have to get to deal with it. If we as natural diamond business want to survive, we must deal with this in a way of open disclosure, disclosure, disclosure. The pipeline question is how to generate growth in polish sales and profits. I want to show you, do we have a pointer here? I think without the microphone you can hear me. Pranay and I are looking at all of you, the diamond industry, as if the global industry is one company with one balance sheet. We don't look at all the extra, the double accounting. You have 40 billion here, you have 40 billion in Dubai, you have 30 billion in India, in Belgium, and in Israel, of course. We also have 25 billion there, and all up, and we have billion. But it's still the same diamond that goes over again. So Pranay and I look at every diamond once. And then we see that in our balance sheet, look here at 2014, and we see that in 2013, we see we're getting 16 billion, and last year 15 billion rock coming in, and the polish going out is around 22. If you then look to the bottom line, the net profits, and now we talked about the industry as a whole, and I want the producers to see that. Those figures are not the figures which are imaginary. There are some companies that are doing well. There are some companies doing excellent. But as an industry as a whole, we are really doing almost nothing. In 2012 we lost. In 2011 we lost. 2013 which was a better year. 2014 in our estimates it is better, but we still are not really making money. We also have 2015 projections, but this is a happy gathering, so we don't want to do those. In our forecast, and I don't know what the producers will say about that, but we definitely see a softening of prices, also on the rock side. But I hope I'm wrong, because when prices go down, we all have inventories that go down, and we don't want that. That's the nice thing between us and the producers. We all want prices to go up and stay firm. We don't want this volatility. And neither do the banks. And you see here also the bank borrowings. We won't talk about that too much now. And we have that tomorrow morning. But this is what we're talking about. We're talking about a $22 billion industry that gets into diamond jewelry from 75, but that's all the other things around. I don't want to go into this slide in the interest of time, and for me to stare at sober with the lady. But this is one slide I want you to look at. Like I said, the 7 billion is the added value. We have seen throughout time, and we talk data from 1970 up to now, that really the added value of the industry has always been moving around in that 5 to 10 billion area. It remained fairly stable. While we see that diamond jewelry sales have gone up. Now, you can say nothing wrong with that. I do say yes, there's something wrong. I don't expect that the added value of the industry has to go the same way, but it certainly deserves to go a little bit more than that, especially when it starts getting involved into category marketing and do other things. I think the producers will give their views on this. I don't know. You talk about volumes. I want you to realize that when we talk about volumes, that basically in terms of carats, about volume. To you guys, especially guys in Surat, it should be important is the carats more than the dollars, because you are working on carats. You are not working on dollars unless you have a printing press at home, but then don't talk about it. But the carats is what counts. If you have less carats, you have less employment, etc. But in terms of value, we do see that we have a great reduction in value, in volume, sorry, but it really hasn't affected the total financial volume. I want to say that an interesting discussion on volumes, and it's one of my questions that I will ask our friends later, that in your fantastic report, Stephen, you talk about annual production of 145 million carats. Kimberley process says 130 last year. I say about the same. I want to know, I'm asking where the extra 15 million carats is coming from. I hope it is not illegal or illicit that we don't know of. But I'm saying this part of smiling because it is not a really totally exact science. Okay? There can be different figures and they can all be right. And this is all the figures. There are best estimates. Sorry, they said I can't see him in the bank. Production levels are going to be remain fairly stable as they are now to about 2020. I am very much optimistic about later on. I believe that Botswana has a lot of surprises that we don't know yet, but I think they're working on it. I have seen estimated in Botswana after Zwanang has the cut 8, 9, there may still be 10, and there may be other things. We're not running out of diamonds, okay? And I don't want you to think that your next generation will not be in this business. I just wanted to set this so we know what we're talking about. Now I would like to invite the miners in the audience here, and it's very interesting. I did some, on the business card, I did some calculation. We have the beers here with 6 billion, Alrosa here with 5 billion, we have Angola here, and we have Rio Tinto here, and together that's about 13 billion. I think that what I'm inviting now, Stephen, please, Jean-Marc, please, Paulo, please, Kenya, please. We're having out of the worldwide production of around 15 billion, we are having about 13 billion from the audience. And I don't know with whom I was talking before. I think I said I think Paulo, didn't I say that I'll be happy with 0.25%? And the legally compliant, I will be less flexible with questions and answers. There are antitrust issues. There may be no situation anyone can even think that something is happening here, except for 4 nice people in the audience at the podium telling you their story. So keep that in mind. Also, when you do ask a question, keep that in mind. Let's give them all an applause, and then I will give your presentation. And what all of you know, Jean-Marc is Rio Tinto.
Thanks a lot, Ivan, and thanks for the words of warning around antitrust. We're going to keep an eye on you, because I think we can behave. Right, well, great to be Great to be here. Always a pleasure. And this is a bit of obviously a special occasion with this World Diamond Conference here in Delhi, and we know the prominent visitors we're going to have this afternoon. And in my mind, this is it's a turning point. And what I'd like this conference to be is the time when India's business leadership in diamonds turns into India's industry leadership in diamonds, which I think is warranted and will be very, very, very beneficial to everyone in the sector. So welcome to India as true leaders of the industry, as you've demonstrated over the past weeks and months, and again here today. So, Honourable Minister, friends of the industry, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be here, and what I'd like to do today is share a few thoughts and experience about the industry that's built over the past 10 years, and how all actors can better work together to build a brighter future for themselves and their business. But one of the themes, I think, of the industry of the conference is going to be, how do we become a collaborative industry? How do we work together across the pipeline, across geographies, across businesses to create value in the industry together and bring better propositions to the consumer? So I'd like to share some of my experience, my company's experience in doing that, and see whether that applies to the broader sector. In over 10 years in the industry, I've built a firm conviction that working together in the spirit of partnership across the whole value chain from mine to retail is the most powerful way to create value in this industry in a sustainable manner and to build a brighter future. So there are times these are times of significant challenge for the diamond sector. I don't need to list these challenges. I think some of them were touched on, whether it's financing, whether it's transparency, whether it's consumers. But when times get tough, usually conflicts emerge, tensions emerge, and positions get polarized. But challenges also come with opportunities, and there are opportunities for change. There are times when change can emerge, at times when a new sense of urgency can lead us to action, and times when we can get united rather than divided. So now is not the time to oppose and divide. Oppose small businesses to big corporations, as some have attempted to do. Oppose east and west. Oppose north and south. Now is the time for the industry to unite and build inspired and ambitious partnerships across sectors and geographies. So I believe the story of Rio Tinto's partnership with India is a good case in point. And I'll go back a little bit in history and under the control of my friend Nirupa here. Obviously, but I'd like to share some elements of this story with you, and leave it to you to assess whether there are some relevant elements to guide us going forward. 30 years ago, to this day almost, the Argyle mine in Australia started producing these large volumes of diamonds that enabled the emergence of mass manufacturing in India, as well as the emergence of a mass retail market in the US. Over these 30 years, we've delivered 800 million carats to the Indian manufacturing sector and provided work directly or indirectly to hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. As you know, we've taken the mine underground now, and that's the underground ramp up. Here we'll be in full production around the middle of next year. And that's going to take us to a new chapter of our partnership with India as volumes grow again. Now, this did not happen overnight. It took a hell of a lot of work that many of you have been involved in, and you see a picture of a younger Nirupa here, and some others will recognize themselves. It took a lot of work to learn how to produce these large quantities of diamonds, and we had to do it all together. We started from scratch. It took a lot of work to create markets for these products in the US, and we had to learn again from scratch and learn by doing with the IADC that many of you have been involved in. We partnered to find ways to elevate business practices in India so that we could face the expectations of international customers and stakeholders with the business excellence model, for example. And during that time, India was established as the diamond powerhouse that it is today. All this was a story of partnership. It was a story of working together. We've got these diamonds. What do we do with them? How do we all create value together by partnering and make sure that everyone in the pipeline in the industry benefits from it, from the miner all the way down to the retailer and the consumer? And I believe it is a success story. Today, over 80% of our customer base is Indian, and is taking the whole round of production from our mines. And we've got new challenges and opportunities to work on. One of them is develop new volume markets. As you know, the US market is no more the volume market it used to be. We need to find new volume markets to move our products to. And on the left here, you've got the latest collection that we launched together with our friends from Chardai Fook, and Kent is here. But every of these initiatives here on the right, you've got Shades of Wonder, which is a collection that was launched with Sterling. Again, many of you are partnering in this. So the way we work here is we've got an idea, we work with the retailer, and we connect the whole chain together. We work with the jewelry manufacturers, we work with the diamantes, and we try to find a way to develop value-adding consumer propositions and retailer propositions, and we connect all the dots and we create an efficient supply chain, an efficient route to market all the way from mine to a retailer. It's been a good model. It has created value, I think, for everyone in the pipeline, and there's certainly one that we think it can be an inspiration for us all. Going into the next chapter of our partnership with India. Clearly, India is no more just a production center. It is becoming an important consumer market, and we believe that it does have huge potential. So we've been working closely with our customers, with a network again of jewelry manufacturers, and with the most prominent retailers in India to think about how do we develop the mass market in India, and how do we capture this opportunity together. One of the manifestations of that is the Nazrana brand. And what's interesting, I think, about the Nazrana brand is it's quite an innovative concept. It's what I call a partnership brand. So we develop the brand, and we work with the retailers, with the jewelry manufacturers, with the diamond manufacturers in partnership to place the brand and activate it. We all invest in it, and it's not the Rio Tinto brand, it's everyone's brand in the network. It's a partnership brand. And I think we're going to make it the biggest retail, the diamond jewelry retail brand in India. But it's all about partnership. Our future great adventure in India, I think, Rajiv, thank you very much for mentioning it, is the construction of the first diamond mine in India for over 40 years, and by any standard, a world-class mine. So the Bandra project is situated in the heart of Madhya Pradesh, in the Chhatarpur district. We've been at it for the past 10 years. Started in 2004. We've invested over $90 million in it. We're still at pre-feasibility stage. We've learned to work in the maze of the Indian administrative system, and believe me, it's full of learning and very interesting. We hope to produce one day, and we've got a very good project. We put a lot of hope in the new government, and we put a lot of hope in all the support that we can receive from our friends from the German Jewelry Council to try to help us bring these diamonds to market. But again, it's going to be a story of partnership, or it's not going to happen. It's going to be a partnership to bring them to life. It's going to be a partnership to market them as diamonds mined in India, cut and polished in India. That I hope will revive the imagery and the imagination around Indian diamonds. So, fantastic project, billions of dollars of benefits, economic benefits for the state and for the country in form of employment, royalties, education, infrastructures, which we're dying to invest into. So with your help, it will happen. So In closing, before I say a word about category marketing, which I've been asked to do, I think it's pretty ironic to think that the miners are being asked to talk about marketing. But it so happens that I was a marketeer in my previous life, so I feel I'm not completely illegitimate here, and our friend here from the village is also a marketeer. But I want to reiterate that what we've achieved working together with the diamond industry in particular demonstrate that it is not a zero-sum game. Sometimes some portray it as, you know, what the miners get, the diamantaires don't get, and vice versa. You're sharing a fixed pool of value. We think we can work together to build that value and to share that value, and I think we've demonstrated it. And that's the spirit that everyone needs to work. We work in, and we need to bring that spirit to life in the industry. Regarding category marketing, as some of you know, I've been very involved in the International Diamond Board at the time. You know, I think, if I may contradict you, Chaim, I think that was the first time that everyone in the pipeline came together for an initiative. Unfortunately, it didn't come to life, but maybe there'll be another chance. It would have been a formidable collaborative effort from the industry, and I'm sure there'll be other chances. My conviction is that we're sitting with diamonds is the most extraordinary brand that you can think of. It's the most extraordinary name that any marketeer would dream of marketing. The diamond brand, if well taken care of, has huge potential. At a time when consumers are attracted to true values, to heartfelt values and natural products. However, if we fail to nurture and manage this brand properly, I'm also convinced that it's going to lose its appeal little by little. The equity will diminish, and it's going to cost a hell of a lot more money to revive it when time comes. So we need to take care of our brand, because that's what we've been entrusted with. So I'm convinced that more marketing investment is required, more creativity, more efforts are required to go into supporting the diamond category if we want to remain our position first and then fulfill the potential of the diamond category. Anyone with a long-term stake in the business should have that as its top strategic priority.